Hey everybody, Jay Schlansky here from the Fifth Trooper Network. I just want to take a moment to thank you for checking out this show. Did you know that over at thefifthtrooper.com we have tons of other content, including blogs, other podcasts, all kinds of stuff. In addition, if you want access to exclusive content, you can join us on patreon.com/thefifthtrooper and join at any level and you'll get access to exclusive blog articles, access to our private Discord, and much more. So please check us out, and thank you so much for all your support.
Welcome to the Fifth Trooper Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fifth Trooper Podcast, the only Star Wars Legion podcast where we absolutely hate Legion and talk about it anyways.
I can't believe how much Jay hates Legion.
The hater of Legion, and that's Tim Hannon, the moderately tolerates Legion.
There you go. That's about right.
I joke. We had a very interesting episode last week where, honestly, I was looking back at it. So, listen, as a content creator, we have to do kind of clicky headlines to get people to click through. I don't do clickbait though, because we absolutely talk about the thing. Whatever I put in the title,
it's true.
We do talk about it, but I need to make it compelling, right?
Yes.
And so I really did not think Legion Needs a 2.0 was going to generate
that was quite a response.
Yeah.
It's that Anchorman scene where like, whoo, that escalated really quickly.
Yeah,
that got out of hand fast.
Tim, was that a trident in your hand? Yeah. So that happened. And I'm very happy because I'm glad the conversation got started. So much so that those dummies over at Notorious Scoundrels rebutted us with a Legion doesn't need a 2.0.
Notoriously wrong.
Yeah.
That's it.
And anyone who says Legion doesn't need a 2.0 is 100% wrong. So
there's no middle ground. There's no discussion.
You're wrong.
Listen, some of my favorite comments were the people saying like, hey, Legion doesn't need a 2.0. It just needs this, then this. Which is a 2.0, everyone. That's what it is.
So this was going through my I read some of the comments. I don't read all of them. Just because I have a life. And so I read some of them, and I wonder if the confusion is what you and I actually think is a 2.0. And I think some of that, and I kind of heard Kyle say this on the Scoundrels too, where like a 2.0 would constitute like a complete or like a substantial change to the rules that it would make the game different. And I just don't agree with that. I think it's a substantial change to the rules that keeps the game the way it is, but cleans everything up and makes it much better.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I envisioned my version of 2.0, quote unquote.
No, I agree with you because, I mean, you look at it, and a few people pointed this out in some of the different comments, but like X-Wing 2.0, and now some people said 2.0 killed X-Wing. That is statistically not true.
Right.
Quite the opposite. We can point to the numbers. 2.0 boosted X-Wing sales, and 2.0, we could talk about a whole nother cast about this, but 2.0 was actually beautiful. It was a really great game. If it hadn't been for Legion, I would probably still be playing that. However, 2.5 is kind of where it fell off for me, but 2.0 itself was great because it did exactly what you're talking about. It kept the core rules, right? Like you knew your main objectives and things like that, what you had to do, and you basically knew how to do it to where like you could read the new cards and you knew like 90% of what was on that card already. But then there's like 10% fresh, and then plus some of that 90% got reworked a little bit. But you still kept the core mechanics. And so I think that's exactly what we're talking about, where it's still the same core game. It's just changing maybe how certain things interact. And you look at, this is just one example, but look at standby sharing. How many times have we had to rework that to make it not broken, right? It's first exemplar can't share it. Okay, but it's still a green token. Now it's not a green token. Okay. So just being able to clean up all of that.
Yeah.
And saying, because also not for nothing, I think new players need to be taken into an account here. And this happens with our local nights too, where someone will come in with a printed off rule book and it's it's not up to date, or there's been an update to it, or it doesn't include the forums, of course, because you have pages and
Right.
pages of forums. And so they are doing the best they can with what they have, but they don't have the full picture. And with a 2.0, you'll be able just to give
Yeah.
them a whole
I mean,
picture.
here's
And
a
not to say you would never have
controversial
forums, but still.
take. The fact that you have to have a game that has hundreds of forum rulings because it's not clear enough in the rule book is insane to me.
Yes and
Like
no.
some
Yes.
ancillary things I get, right? You're
Yes.
gonna have to have something to like keep up on
The,
ancillary like topics, right?
like the edge cases,
Yes, yes, yes,
that'll
yes,
come
yes.
up in highly competitive events and things like
Of
that.
course. But
Sure.
when you
Sure.
have a forums ruling that is fundamentally changing a rule that everyone perceived one way and is making it completely a different way, and it's just some random forums ruling. Like I say
Right.
random because it's not publicly published, like, and put out there like, hey, FYI, we made a change to force push, or we made a change to this or this, right? It's just in the forums. You have to figure it
Debatable, but
out.
okay.
What?
Debatable. Uh, I would argue you can follow on the Discord and you can see there's a whole channel dedicated
Oh,
to rules update.
okay, listen. I'm on the Discord. I didn't know that until you told me like 3 weeks ago. I had no
That's
idea.
okay. But
Right?
you can't argue it's not there. It's still there.
I'm okay. Sure. But if I don't know it's there,
This is where Jay learns object permanence.
right.
This is
If I don't know it's there, then how is a new player or somebody getting into it going to know it's there?
it is for new players, it is definitely an issue.
Okay.
Yes. I agree
So
with that.
that to me constitutes a fundamental breakdown in the rules and the way we deliver rules to people.
Yeah.
And so therefore that means we needed 2.0. So scoundrels, Kyle, Mike, Timbo, you guys are wrong. And you're fired because how dare you rebuttal me? Number one. And
I
everybody
forget.
listening, Tim brought up
Yeah.
a good point. I think you said it just a second ago, and you've told me a few times, but like every single person that said we don't need a 2.0, we just need this laundry list of things to be changed, are
Yeah.
clearly out of your mind, because that
We
is what would constitute a 2.0. Like all these changes. Like, come on,
but we
man.
still love you. We still love you. It's okay.
I
You don't
don't.
have to be in your mind.
Don't even
Okay.
listen to this. I honestly
All
don't
right.
care. I don't love you.
No,
You're
that's
wrong.
not he doesn't mean that.
I don't think you understand how hard I do mean that.
Why are you letting the ginger be the angel here?
If you're
That's
going to
not how it's
tell me,
supposed to work.
if you're going to tell me that we don't need a 2.0, but then give me a laundry list of reasons and you're upset by what I'm saying right now, it's probably best if we part ways. Just honestly.
There's your headline. Jay breaks up with his own listeners. God.
But yeah, no,
Oh
listen, I
man.
love this. For those of you, I know, I'm sure some of you said it tongue in cheek, but like for those of you that think I hate Legion, you're wrong, because not only do I have 3 different podcasts and a blog staff of like 15, only talking about one friggin' game. Yeah, like, but I think there is maybe a little bit of truth to that, because I think you can only hate things that you love. Like I don't
Ooh.
hate, because I don't hate things that I don't care about, because I don't care about them. So there's no hate in my heart because it didn't change or turn into something I no longer like. So I think I'm definitely have a little. I'm definitely upset at where the game is today, and the fact that there's some simple things that are so messed up in this game, and this refusal to recognize that
I
from a
somewhat
majority of you
agree.
is concerning.
Somewhat agree, but again, I would argue I still think balance wise we're in a really good spot, but I do think everything maybe like around the fringes and like you're talking about with keywords and forums clarifications, I think that needs some help.
Here's a question. Are
Yeah.
we okay balance wise? Everyone
Yes, you've
keeps
said that
telling me
before.
that.
You said it.
Hold on. I know. Yeah, I'm disagreeing with myself. I've been thinking a lot about this
Okay.
over the last
Okay.
week. Yeah.
We have an
I've
epiphany.
absolutely,
Okay.
I'm not denying. I've absolutely
Okay.
said it. But if you go, I've been doing some work with Game Uplink, our TO software news alert. We're making updates. I promise you it's going to get better. Um
There you go.
but anyways, I've been doing some research and looking into things for Game Uplink and some stuff I
Yeah.
want to institute, and clones have been top since they came out. So are we actually balanced? They go down for like 1 second and then somebody comes up with a crazy new list and then they're right back to the top every time.
I I think, but you still look at I think you look at the overall breakdown. I think there's a lot that goes into that. I don't think, and this has been my argument for years with Legion. Our sample sizes are just too dang small to really
I don't
pull any
disagree.
huge, like sweeping statement like that.
But I don't think so now. I think we're at a point where we're 4 years in with clones, roughly five
Sure.
almost,
Sure, five, yeah, whatever it is,
4 or 5 years with clones. Okay.
yeah.
They have a completely broken set of circumstances. I'm not even gonna call them rules. They have circumstances because it's beyond their rules that makes them broken and makes them top of the heap over the period since they've been around. They are a majority of the time at the top of the heap. Even when Blizzard was around, Anakin Padme was still strong. Okay.
True,
And then while
true,
Blizzard was strong, our very own Mike played the 501st list and was spanking people, even Blizzard people at LVO. Then our
true.
very own Mike came up with a Yoda list. Nothing changed. He just went, "Oh, this list with Yoda's great." And then started spanking people. And then other people played it and started doing what? Like, I would
Yeah.
argue that leads me to believe today that it is not balanced, that clones are way out of balance compared to everyone else.
Yeah, I think you had me, then you lost me. I think you
Okay.
had me with where is it balanced perfectly? No. But sub note, no game is ever going to be
Okay.
competitively perfectly balanced. But hold
Fair.
on, but I definitely disagree with it's way out of balance. I don't think they're way out of balance because this is the problem with clones. If you
Maybe I
fine tune
exaggerated.
them, no,
That's
but I
that's
hear what you're
fair.
saying. But here's the problem though. They can feel that way
Yeah.
because the finest of adjustments, and all of a sudden they swing one way or another.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I do get the feeling from that, and I do think, and we've talked about this several times before, and I've talked about this again for years. I do think clones are the hardest faction to balance from a development
Right.
standpoint. And again, we've talked about this, so we don't have to go back down this road, but there's just so many keywords that are both crucial to their survival, but also easily spammable
Yeah.
and potentially broken. And it's really hard to find that balance. And I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
how to do it.
Oh, I'm not blaming anybody. Yeah, I didn't mean
You
to
can blame
be
whoever you want. I don't care.
right. I didn't mean to be blamey. I think they're tough and they've always been tough, right? From the beginning
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
work out. But what I'm saying is, if we were to honestly look at stuff, I think that 2.0 is required. I mean, like for instance, I think Scoundrels, I don't think they listen to this podcast, so that's fine. Because Mike basically said that he wanted seasons of the objective deck of the a battle deck, right?
Sure. Sure.
Wouldn't that inherently be changing a large rule?
Yes, but again, I think that's the hold on. That's a little bit more OP structure and less core game. Like you could play on your tabletop, on your kitchen, without having to worry about seasons.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Okay.
I agree on the competitive level, it absolutely changes everything.
Yeah.
But for the average person at home, or even for a lot of like local shops and stuff like that, no one's going to care what season you're in.
Fair.
You're going to
Oh, yeah,
say,
yeah,
"Hey,
yeah. That's
let's
fair.
just throw
Yeah.
down a Legion game and throw it down." It's not going to change the core mechanic of how you play outside of a
I
competitive
I
setting.
think okay, I hear what you're saying, but one could argue like I played Warhammer Fantasy 880
Sure.
forever,
Yeah.
right? Like it didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
change. They changed the rules. They went to Age of Sigmar competitively,
Yes.
But
Yes.
I mean, so that inherently, yes, you could always play with the
Right.
old rules, like,
Of course. Yeah, you
but
can do
I
whatever you
mean, I
want.
think,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, anyways, I find that like whenever you say we don't need a 2.0 and then you put but we need all these changes, then I'm just like
Right.
that means exactly that we exactly need a 2.0.
I agree. I think
Anyways,
yeah, I agree with you, and I think more people are actually on the 2.0 train than they realize. They
yeah,
just it's our definitions of that are getting a little bit murky there.
sure,
But that's
sure.
okay. That's hey, listen, y'all, this is how we have good constructive discussion.
My
And
favorite
also
argument
Jay.
out of all of them
Yeah.
was if we actually looked at the rule book, we could see they're on version 2.5. And I didn't actually mean what version of the rule book they were on. I just meant the concept of a change. But thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Mhm. It was good discussion, y'all.
Yeah, and if
Good
you want to
good
hear,
teamwork.
if you listen to us last week and this week, and you want to hear the rebuttal, I highly recommend listening to the Scoundrels. Um,
Yes. I
they
listened to
listen,
some of
they're
it.
wrong, but they do it in an eloquent way. And they, they crashed their plane, but it looked pretty while they were doing it. So, you know,
They're also better than us though, so
no, they're not.
okay.
They're not better than us, Tim.
Okay, okay.
They
This is
may
where you
be,
go and you
they may
delete all
be,
the game uplink
they
data
may.
and
Oh,
just
oh, you mean at Legion? Sure.
Yes.
They're better players of Legion. They are not better than us, though.
Okay.
Don't put yourself down like that. They're just men.
Maybe I'm just elevating them, you know? Rising tide raises a
They've already elevated themselves. We don't need to
lot.
help them out on the way up, They're standing on my shoulders to get up there. So no,
Until they need a guest spot and one of us hops on there and then it's fine again. Yeah.
I'm never going on there again, those
Yeah, not with
bastards.
this attitude. Oh goodness. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. So this
Um,
game that we love.
yeah.
Great. Good talk.
Oh
That's
my God.
a good connection there.
People drive me crazy. Anyways, yeah. So thanks everyone for commenting. Even those of you that were wrong, it was really really nice to hear from you.
True, true.
And yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's. What do we want to talk about? I know we want to get to Din. We're gonna break
Yeah, we
down
were
Din
talking about
today.
yeah, we're trying to figure out some, we do it with some heavies before we were taking some more underutilized heavies and talking about them. So I think there's space to talk about underutilized characters,
Yeah.
which is I do think without again going down this rabbit hole, I do think that's one of the cool things about Shatterpoint is Shatterpoint is so like hero heavy and it feels like you get to play your heroes, whereas sometimes in Legion, sometimes you just end up running a gun line with no heroes, and it
Here's
feels a
what I
little sad.
argue though. One of
Yeah,
my dislikes currently of Shatterpoint
yeah.
is it's just so much. Like
What do you mean?
I don't know. It seems like every other day there's a new like release,
Oh,
and, like a
yeah,
new
I got
announcement
you.
of a release, and then this, and then this, and then and you're like, dude, I can't even keep up with this. Like,
Yeah.
it would be, and you can't
Well,
do that for Legion. You can't. It's just because of the
no.
rules balancing and how things need to be. You can't do it. But like,
Well, also, frankly, I don't want that for Legion because I've seen some people complain about our release schedule. Honestly, I'm pretty okay with it because regardless, even honestly, even of competitive side of things, just local play nights and having time to play the new things.
yeah,
If we have so many new things, I'll never get to play half of them, even just with one faction, let
oh
alone
yeah,
like having three factions. And so if you have something new every month or every 2 months, it just gets a bit insane.
yeah. I
Like
don't.
even
Yeah,
Geonosians. I didn't buy any Geonosians because
dude, I know.
I need to start building what I have. Not
I
because they're not good. I think they're really cool, but
yeah,
I can't
I
justify
took a
it.
couple boxes out of stock, and I was like, because all my armies, CIS, I have everything together and painted, and
Right,
enough to
right.
field any army I would want to field, right? Except for maybe
Sure.
experimental droids, but like everything
Yeah.
else, I'm pretty set on. Just because I only have two sets of Magna Guards, but like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do the two heroes, and then I'm gonna do the two sets of units, right? And I like popped the
Yeah.
boxes open, I took the sprue out, and then something happened, and like I have not even been back to putting those together. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yes, I know what you mean.
yeah, anyways, and so and I really want to try them out. I saw Evan play them at that thing we were at, Golden Sprue, and
The thing we were at, yeah, the thing you stream, you know.
that thing we were doing. And yeah, I saw him play him at Golden Sprue, and I was like, it gave me some ideas. I got some ideas for a couple of lists I want to try. And
Yeah,
so
I think they're really cool. I just can't. I do know. I will say I've heard from multiple sources that they are some of the most difficult units to put together.
yep,
I've talked ad nauseum about how much I hate putting units together already.
yep,
And I also, again, I have such a big backlog. And I know the joke for miniatures players, no matter what game you play, it's
yeah,
always your pile of shame. And I
yeah.
get that. And I ha ha ha. But that doesn't mean I want to grow my pile of
Oh,
shame.
dude.
Like I want to chip away at it.
It's so like so I basically what I've done is mine was getting so bad that
Yeah.
I basically pop them out of the box,
Hmm.
and I have banker boxes now of
Hmm.
like bags of miniatures that I just put them in. I stapled the little insert to them so I know what they are, and I put them in the
Yep.
banker box if I'm not going to put them together right away, because I just
Right.
can't have stacks of
Yeah.
boxes. So
No,
yeah,
and I get that. And that's like, well, and what I'm notorious for doing is I will get whatever I need, build exactly what I need. So like I'm thinking
yeah,
of the Wookiee Battle Force,
yeah,
which is still a lot of fun, and I still have them. But I built, I just basically cannibalized all my Wookiees, built whatever I needed to run a full Wookiee Battle Force, and then I still have essentially probably a box and a half worth of Wookiees if I put it all together, or a squad and a half of Wookiees to put together that I just haven't put together because I
yeah.
haven't had the need to.
Like
And it just
I
I
used
don't
to
like
do
that.
that too, and then I started regretting it when I wanted to build
Yeah.
certain lists. So I was like, oh man. So now
Hmm.
my thing now with everything, not just Legion, but MCP, those are the two games I play the most, is
Yeah.
if I open a box, everything that's in the box gets put together just so, and I just don't have to think about it again. I'm not worried about
Yep.
painting it. I'm just putting it together. And,
Yep.
it's funny. Yeah, MCP is definitely like so in my office I have a shelf of all my Legion armies, like a
Yeah.
bookshelf. And then I actually just had to get another bookshelf for all my MCP stuff because
Yeah.
it's starting to do the same thing.
I get it. I get it. No, but that's a really good way to manage your pile of shame. There you go. There's your segment. Managing your pile of shame. But yeah, I think that's a really good strategy. And I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to adapt that because it's just too much. And it
It
gets so messy. And
it
I
does.
hate clutter just
Yeah.
in general and
It's
in
tough.
life and in work. And so to have something I am so passionate about be such a pain point for me, I don't like. It
I
just
would
makes
love
me
to tell you
uncomfortable.
that I don't like clutter. My wife, if you ever talk to my wife, she would tell you I am a very like sporadically messy person because I'm just I don't think I have like ADD or anything like that, but it's definitely in that realm where it'll be like, as an example, I'll be drinking like a bottle of water or like my coffee or whatever, and I'll like set it down to do something, and then while I
Yep.
was doing that other thing, I came up with another idea. I was like, oh, I
Hmm.
gotta go get that down, and then I come to my office or I go do the thing that I was thinking about. I go, where the hell did my coffee go? Like, and then I have
Oh.
to go find that, but then I forgot what I was, dude, it's a whole thing. And
You're
like,
like the girl from
especially,
Signs with her little glasses of water
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Especially if I do like art projects, like so like I'm trying to paint up some terrain and stuff, and I'll just like my paint, like I put all my paint away when I've completed the project, right?
sure.
But while
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of it, it's just like it's just everything's everywhere because it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, put that aside, grab this. Like I don't ever like set it back perfectly. I want to be
Yeah.
better at that, but at this point, I just think I am who I am. And so,
I finally in after the move and everything, I finally I thought all my boxes were unpacked, but I found one more box that A had some missing kitchen utensils, which is great because I like to cook, but also had separate part of the box, obviously, were my painting supplies, or
mm,
my sorry, not my painting supplies, my painting supply stands. It's
Oh,
like all my
okay.
paint
Yeah.
pot stands and things like that. And I was so happy to have my paint pot stands and everything like that again because I'm like, oh yay, I can see everything, and
Yeah.
it just makes my
Yeah.
heart happy.
That's nice.
Makes my brain happy.
Yeah, I just, dude, I like, and then I'll like open a paint and forget that I opened it, and then I'll like go to grab another one and tip that one over. I'm like, God, son of a bitch. Like, just
Yeah,
like yelling
yeah.
at my paint station. Go, wait, you idiot.
It's always Agrax Earthshade, man. Every time it always gets knocked over. Every time.
But
Although I think the last time I knocked a pot over was a fairly fresh bottle of Skeleton Horde. Nice and liquidy, just splash
I
all over.
always, yeah, I always seem to knock over like the contrast paint or like the
Oh yeah.
Nuln oil or like the
Oh
thing
yeah.
that's the worst because it's gonna spread and spread fast. Oh, dude.
Yep.
And I've been
Oh
doing a
yeah.
lot of airbrushing. Like I'm really doing airbrushing. That's my big push right now is to like
Yeah.
pick up that skill and raise myself up with that.
Yeah.
And so that one is like oh like the I didn't put the thinner, the paint thinner for the
Mhm.
airbrush. I didn't put the top on properly, and I went to like move, and because it's taller than everything else, like I hit that, and then it just spilled all over my station.
Sure.
Like just yeah, oh my god, so angry.
Yeah. I get that.
But yeah, all right. Let's talk a little
You want to unpack some Din
Din
magic?
Din Djarin.
Daddy Din?
Yeah. So, I have the Rebels up, but we'll go back and forth. I just picked
Sure.
it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Din Djarin is for Rebels or Empire. He's 105 points and he's a mercenary. That's important to remember. Um, and he's got a bunch of upgrades. He's got two training, a comms, two gears, and a weapons upgrade. He has Arsenal 2, which means he can use up to two of his weapons. When he attacks, he has Bounty stapled right on his card, so that's great. He has Impervious, so like most Mandalorians, so when defending against Pierce, you get to roll additional dice equal to the Pierce value.
Hmm.
Independent aim and dodge, so he's okay not having orders, which is nice. And Tactical 1, so he gets a little movie Amy stuff, which is great.
That's
It's
right.
red defensive dice, 5 health, 3 courage, surges to crit, surges to block, speed 2. Well, right now, speed 2. He has his vibro knife, which is 2 black and lethal 1, and he has Din's modified 90 IB 94 pistol, which is range 1 to 2, 2 red, a black, lethal 1, long shot 1, versatile. So good.
I was gonna say his keywords are really good there. The
Mhm.
problem is, well, we can talk about this in a little bit, but yeah, the die pool ain't great.
No, not
Yeah.
great. And then his upgrades of note, or him and Boba have their own flame projectors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
you get rid of it once you use it, but it's a range 1 or in melee, 1 red per mini. It has blast, spray, which is that 1 red per mini, and then suppressive, which is nice. And then the Mando's jetpack, so you could give him a jetpack, and then you can increase his maximum speed by 1, so he can get up to speed 3, and then he can gain for an action he can get jump 2, which is great. And that's
Yep.
something interesting to remember. Now with Genosians out, jump 2 is
Mm-hmm.
or jump is the
Mm-hmm.
ability to perform a move and ignoring the height of terrain of the number after jump. So jump is giving you the move, and most characters up until Genosians, it was an action in order to do jump, right? So you were moving, you were ignoring this terrain. Genosians, it's a free action, so they actually have
Yes.
3 movements.
It's
And so
very
I know
important.
some people were
Yeah.
asking that during our live stream of Golden Sprue. They're like, why does he
Yeah.
move 3 times? And it's like, yeah, so
Yeah, it's real good. Also, sorry for anyone I dropped my phone in my pocket. I wasn't even touching it and it fell out. So sorry if that broke your eardrums.
no, we didn't hear anything. All set.
Oh, there you go.
Gotta love
Perfect.
Zoom. uh,
Yeah.
cuts all of that out. All right. You also have a counterpart of Grogu. And Grogu is not worth taking. And so,
I was gonna say we can unpack this if you want. Grogu is a mistake. Do
yeah,
not bring free victory points for your friends.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Don't do
basically
it.
what happens is he has hunted. So if you kill him, he becomes an objective token and you can claim it and get a VP. And then he has latent power, which is a random roll thing. And I mean, here's the thing.
Lane power is great.
Yeah, hunted is not.
Nope.
And
It's not with
it's
hunted.
right, it's just
No.
adding more com complexity to your
Yes.
play into your list that just doesn't
Yep.
need to be there. So just don't even bother. It's not worth
Yeah.
it. Unless you want to just have fun. You're just looking to have fun and you want to get
Yeah.
Grogu out there, maybe.
Case in point, just a side note, there was one time I was playing against the Din. My CAD hopped up on top of a tower. There's like a height 2 tower. They both had, or height 1 tower, whatever, and we both had jump. They're on top of the tower. Got it to where basically Din was so far forward and attacking to where CAD punched him,
Yep.
disengaged with him because of electro gauntlets, and then everybody shot him. Drop Grogu. Next turn, CAD grabs Grogu and runs off, and so I win with a bounty token because the bounty was on Din and Grogu. So I got two VPs for one, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so it's not even worth
I
having him.
I will say this though, what would be a really cool change is if Din could not get bountied.
Yes.
If he could not get bountied, I'd be more willing to consider Grogu because at least it's not a 2 for 1.
Yep.
Then it's kind of like it's actually a little bit better because then, even if you do kill Din, you still have to pick up the bounty token. So I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I would like that. That's all
If
right.
if Din brings Grogu, he cannot be bountied. Be a
Right. Yeah.
cool little blurb. Anyway,
Yeah, so we have some trainings. I'm not gonna go through all of them. I think at this point we've done this a few times, but the ones I guess Tim, first one, what one do you think is a good one for Din?
my controversial opinion is when I'm first building a Din list, I put Bupkis on him.
Yep.
I put zero because he is a expensive boy.
Yep. I think that's
Once you build him, he's an expensive boy. He starts pretty cheap, but then once you put stuff on him, he
yeah.
he jacks up in price really
So
quickly.
all right,
So
you're right. So let's
there's
go
plenty of options.
backwards. Let's
Yes,
let's go let's so you're putting on his flame projector,
yes, flame projector I do think is a must-have.
and I think the jetpack is a good idea. Not must have,
I
but a
think
good idea. It's
I think it's a
expensive.
great idea, but his 15 points is so
Right.
much.
Okay. All right.
It's
And
so
then
much.
you putting the Ambam rifle on him, or are you putting the
I
Beskar spear?
it's a discussion worth having,
Yep.
depending on what you're trying to do with your list and with your specifically with your din. But I think Ambam is always good. I think
Yeah.
Beskar Spear is still really good, but it's a little bit more situational. So I would
Yeah.
probably go Ambam.
Yeah. I mean, my listen. I've played one game with Din, one,
Yeah,
and I found that he didn't really hold up as much as I would like in melee, much like Sabine. And so I like him more as a long range, like objective play.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Do you put a comms on him?
No, I would think not. The only thing I could see is a comms relay to get rid of his order token if you really want
Yeah.
independent to trigger, which
Yeah.
I get that because
Yeah, I
his
guess
independent is
again,
really good. It's
depends
really
on the
good.
rest of your list, right?
Yeah. I think if
So
there's a way for you to get orders out to the rest of your list with your comms relay,
yeah.
I think it's fine because then if your bag is under control, like maybe improvise or something like that, anyway, but yeah,
So let's
tricky.
take a look at his command cards because he comes with them. All right, so
He
first
does.
one, this is the way. 1 pip.
Hmm.
You give an order to Din. Din Djarin gains a dodge token and relentless. So after you perform a move, you perform a free attack action. Great.
Very good. Very,
Great.
very good. Yep.
Great card. Next one. I like those odds. 2 pip. Order to Din Djarin. Din gains 1 aim token. After Din performs an attack action, he may perform an additional attack action after against a different unit.
I think his best card,
Yep.
in my opinion.
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and this is actually, I could see where if you had the comms relay, because you can
Yeah.
give him the order, comms relay it off.
Mhm.
He's still going to get an aim because you can pick one from
Right.
independent, and then
Mhm.
and then he can still get his actions. Like you just,
Yeah.
it's an option. Normally, if you're playing this, you want him to probably go first, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. That's good.
Number 3. 3 pip whistling birds. During his activation, Din gains action. Choose up to 3 enemy units at range 1 and in line of sight. For each chosen unit, roll a white die for each mini in that unit. That unit suffers 1 wound for each crit, hit, and surge result. So paint.
Hmm.
Any paint, they suffer a wound.
It's a really cool card. Listen, when this card pops off, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. However, normally when you're bringing other things, it's too much of a gamble.
Yeah. Right. And the
Now,
fact
again,
that you had to say when this card pops off.
yeah, right. That's true. But yeah, it's when it pops off, and it's really if it pops off, it's great. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's kind of lackluster, and it can blank out, and a lot of times it does blank out. I think if you're only bringing Din, if you have no other named characters, bring it, go for it.
Yeah.
But normally, if you have other named characters, normally their 3 pips are better.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, yeah, so that's Din. I know you had Empire popped up. Do we want to do Empire build first?
Sure, I have actually one in front of me, but you're sharing your screen, so you can build on yours
Yeah,
if you want.
let's
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if we'll get back to the Rebel build. The one thing I've
yeah.
found that I was thinking about recently that I think is interesting is
Hmm.
pairing him up with R2 and having the
Yeah,
ability to have like potential of 2 extra VP, which is kind of
yeah,
cool. Um Yeah, I mean, I think he also does well with IG-11. Like that's a
yep.
good pairing as well
Hmm.
for Rebels. So yeah, let's go to Empire. So we've got Din, and what does he have on him, Tim? So break it down for me.
So right now I just have the Ambam and the flamethrower.
Yep. All
Ambam and the
right.
flamethrower. I don't even have the cons relay on him. I've only played Din a handful of times, and it's been a while. I actually really want to play him again because I got a really cool card at LVO, I believe it was. I think it was
Nice.
LVO. One of my
Yeah.
opponents LVO, and I really want to play him again just to use the card because I think it's cool, and I do think he's a cool unit,
Love it.
even if he's not the best of the best. I think
Yeah.
it's neat. Anyway, so Din like that, Iden
Oh.
with her repeater and her little friend bot, or her sniper. I mean, same price. So
Yeah,
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 whatever you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
do. I think if you bring the sniper, you don't bother with ID 10, but that's another conversation maybe. And then Inferno.
Oh, sorry.
No,
That's
you're
like
good. I got you. Inferno.
um yeah.
Right now, naked.
Whoa.
Subject to change. Well, no.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
not
with the
Inferno.
heavies.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. Okay,
Inferno.
okay, okay. I'm
Inferno
sorry.
has to have the
Yeah, yeah.
heavies.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why I was confused when you said, sorry. I was
I
confused
meant
when you
no
said
O
naked.
push
Yep. Okay.
because everyone always brings O
Yeah,
push on
yeah,
them,
yeah.
which
Right.
is a good call. But
Yep.
anyway, no O push. 2 Death Troopers.
Ooh.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this list. It made a little bit of tinkering with it, but anyway, 2 Death Troopers with the DLT and the config because config is free now. So bring the config. No reason not
Okay.
to. And then right now, this is where we get a little tricky, and this is where it eats up the other points. 2 Shores with heavies and 2 Mortars. Naked.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oops. 2 of those and 2 mortars. Damn, that's a lot of heavy hitters.
It is a lot of heavy hitters. I understand. I understand. There's no O pushes out there for your tax
Yeah.
strike turn. However, you're still gonna get two.
Yeah.
You still get two.
I
It's not like
don't
you don't
dis
get anything.
I don't dislike this.
Yeah.
What do you got in your command hand?
I didn't get that far yet.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Sorry. It's a good discussion to have, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I really like this a lot.
Yeah. I think it
Um,
gives you some flexibility and yeah, it's neat. I just
so
threw it together now, so
okay,
we'll
so
see.
here's just from watching this, here's something interesting. Oh,
Okay.
um, so what if we did
Uh-oh.
what if we
Din
did
Bosk.
Bosk
Okay.
and we put in Krennic?
Yep,
Krennic's
with the
gonna
free
need to
Death
have
Trooper.
Underworld.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. And then you could have two Death Troopers. Right now we've got Krennic, Din with his flame and his Ambam Bosk, two Death Troopers, two Shore Troopers. You could almost put O push on the Death Troopers. You give Bosk
Sure.
targeting.
Yeah.
You want to you could give him Hunter, but I give him targeting scopes.
I for me, Bosk has targeting scopes baked in every time.
Yeah.
Like it's 4 points, and those white dice will betray you every time you don't have it. So
You
yeah,
could
always bring it.
I like having recon on shore troopers. And if you
Ah,
wanted to
yep,
get dicey, you could also put some O push on them too, so you're guaranteeing them like some aims. Um
sure.
if you're not giving them orders, you know.
Right, right.
This is interesting. Double bounty.
That's
I played a double bounty Din or not Din, double bounty Boba Bosk, which was really good.
oh yeah,
And
classic,
so
classic. Yeah,
this got me thinking about it with Din's and Bam and like all the like hyper range.
yeah.
I mean
Ambam
most
is
of this,
still
yeah.
sorry. Ambam is still gross to play against. I don't
Yeah.
know for anyone who hasn't played against it. We should actually run over. Did you actually mention what Ambam
No, I'm
does?
sorry, we didn't.
That's okay. I was gonna say it's pretty important, pretty
Yeah.
powerful.
So it's
Yeah.
3 black. You spend 2 actions. If you are not engaged, perform a speed 1 move. Then choose an
It's
enemy unit in line of sight. Roll 1 red attack die. If the result is a hit or a crit, the chosen unit suffers 1 wound and gains 1 suppression token. And it's
just
immobilized
auto
2
wound.
and suppressive
It is only the three black dice are
for
only engaged.
melee. Yeah.
Only if you're in melee, yes. So, but immobilize two in melee is super strong, first off,
Yeah.
because it means you can't withdraw.
Right.
So a lot of people don't realize, but you can't withdraw. Suppressive, but the double action is the only I think this is the only thing in the game that takes 2 actions, right? At
Yep.
this juncture. Yeah. So double action, but you still get to do a speed 1 move, which is great if you're not engaged. But this ability will shoot into anything. Will shoot into engaged, a tank,
Yep.
does not matter as long as you are on the board. So I mean, I guess if a unit is technically inside a heavy transport,
Yep.
then they can't
Right.
be amp bammed. But other than that, everybody can be amp bammed at
Right.
any
Like the
time.
big thing when this first got announced, which was one of our big concerns, was being able to do this to an engaged force user, like one
Yep.
that tried to bury itself within, then you're just like,
Hmm.
nope, I'm just gonna shoot you. And
Yeah.
it's wild.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no,
And yeah.
I like this. I mean, I would at this maybe in this list. I mean, I'll have to pump something else out, so probably the offensive pushes on the shores. But
Yeah,
like,
there you
I
go.
would
Yeah.
consider putting the jetpack on him for this because he's gonna function as almost like a Boba Fett in this list.
Right.
So
Well, and also with the extra, so you just freed up 5 points in there, right?
yeah,
I think for the 5 point, you put improvised in there
yeah. Who do you put it
just
on?
to
Uh,
what
what?
improvise, not seize,
Oh,
improvise orders.
what?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Just
Yeah,
to
you're
make
right.
sure you have full
You got
control.
me. I was thinking seize the initiative. I was
You're
like, wait a
fine. You're
second,
fine.
what?
Yeah.
I think the trick
Yeah.
then comes in. So, well, maybe it's not that tricky. I think you go voracious ambition.
Yep.
This is the way.
Yep.
Uh, deploy the garrison for sure.
Ooh. Yep.
And then
Yep.
I think you got to think about reptilian rampage and dins. I mean, you're basically
Oh.
getting the same thing.
So let me ask you this: why deploy the garrison?
The standbys.
Yeah, but how often do standbys just get blown off?
Well, I think they get blown off for sure, right? Like you may
Hmm.
not be able to use them, but the fact that what I end up doing is I put
Hmm.
them on generally the bounty hunters because by the time I'm
Okay,
going to play that, the bounty hunters are in a place where they're in the mix. And so you could definitely take one standby off, but taking both off before the other one gets to go, right, is going to be tough.
true.
And so I
But
like for
then
that
you,
reason, but I could see an argument to take it out. But yeah, I do like that. And it gets you, this could, I mean, you could go so many ways with this, right? Like if you're, you could even put, I would maybe consider getting rid of improvise and putting comms relay on one of the death troopers because
mhm,
what you can do is relay their orders to somebody else, which is really nice. And but
sure.
you could put them on both the death troopers,
Hmm.
and get two standbys with the death troopers. You could put them on Din, Bosk, and a death, but you can't all get standbys, but you'd have three orders to choose from to put us.
Yeah,
It gives you some options. And then here I do like Reptilian Rampage,
yeah.
but I could see Din's too, so it would just depend on how I'm using it. I think I'm leaning towards Rampage just
I
because it's good.
I agree. If you're not gonna bring both, then I agree. I would lean towards
Right.
Rampage. However, I really think in this list in particular, I think
Yeah.
Deployed Harrison can be really solid if you do it right. But I think in this list, I would argue for just both
Yeah.
for bounty hunters because I
Okay.
think they're both so
Fair.
good. They're both free attacks, or
Fair.
yeah, basically free attacks.
Well, and I
Rampage
guess
is different.
maybe too that could be your argument for you could bounce the comms relay and go back to improvise because with deploy the garrison and stuff, you're kind of doing your improvise because your comms relaying to somebody else. So
Sure.
with your entourage order,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then
Yep.
yeah, lying in wait
Yep.
and whistling birds probably. I could
Uh,
see swapping out whistling birds for assault.
Annihilation looms.
I
And
don't play
this,
that.
think about this list. You have Bosk suppression, Death Troopers suppressive,
Yep.
Shore Troopers not suppressive, okay, but still range 4, two suppressive mortars.
Yep.
Din's Ambam is also suppressive.
Oh yeah. All
I
right,
think
that's fair.
everything you're doing is suppressive,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah, I like
other
that.
than the shores. Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, so there's a couple lists for Empire. Let's
Yeah.
do a Rebels one real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So we got them in there already. Um, I think let's try the R2 route. So we'll put R2 in there.
Okay.
I would probably put C3PO in there to get the calculate and distract. Those are good.
Sure. And
Um,
extra health.
and the extra health is always good. So four troopers, I'll probably go vets. I mean, there's no reason to go anything else
Yep.
at this point.
Mark
Oh yeah,
2s.
but it doesn't need a 2.0. Uh, as I don't pick as like half their core troopers aren't even something I would ever put in here. Okay. Anyways, commander. So this is where it gets interesting. I think you could put
Yeah.
a named commander in here like a Cassian. I think this would be a good.
Yeah. I don't hate that. I mean, think about a Cassian Din, which is also possibly could do a similar thing as Iden and Sniper config,
Yeah.
is you have two infinite range units now,
Yep.
which is really strong in a game that no longer has infinite range snipers. It's really strong.
Yeah. And then I guess my tendency is to go to um the problem is you're gonna need I mean the problem is you can't give orders to Din, right, without underworld connections. He
Yep.
can give orders to himself. Uh
Yep.
but you may want to consider a different commander, but I don't know. I could see arguments for both. I think for me, I don't know that snipers are very popular anymore, but I like putting them in to fill out my
I
to
mean, again,
add,
you're still making a great
act
gun line here. You're making a
yeah.
rebel gun line. So yeah.
I don't mind activation padding, but I could also see So you could potentially stick with me here. See if
Right,
we can get these guys in here.
carry on. You're missing something vital that's with Cassian.
Oh, K2?
Yeah, where's your K2?
I
Where's
don't
your
think
K2?
can you put them in here with yeah, you can, right? With already
Yeah.
having
Oh shoot, no, you can't.
you filled your slots.
Operatives. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot he's an operative. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Just kidding.
I mean, so right now, for those of you listening, I have Cassian with his sniper config. I just put in a Pike Syndicate capo and two Pike Syndicate foot soldiers with their disruptor and capos.
Jeez.
So you want to start
I
talking about
mean,
range, like
yeah.
Rebel gunline? Um,
Yeah.
let's see, we got about
And you're only 727 with 10x.
yeah 70 some odd points left. So you could, gosh, you could
You
probably
c- you could put the jetpack on Din. I think now you have the points.
yep
I think we should say too, the jetpack is good. It's
yep.
just expensive. But if you can afford it, go for it. It's jump
I
2 and speed 3 is huge.
Yeah. In my experiences with a similar list to this, I was playing 12 act version of this, but
Okay.
like
Okay.
I really like recon intel on the vets and on the
Yep.
pikes.
Yep. Get
I
the
also
blasters
like
down.
O push on the vets.
Yep.
And we could afford to put in vigilance on the capo,
Oof.
which is
Yeah.
huge. And we still have 26 points. So, I mean, geez, you could, I don't know, you could probably load Din up a little bit more, or Cassian, like
Yeah. I
Cassian.
think, yeah.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I think either option honestly would be good here.
Yeah.
Probably Din. Probably load up the Din then at that point. I normally play a cheap Din, but in this case, probably
Yeah,
okay to
I
load him
think
up a
you
little
put a
bit.
comms relay on him since you got
Yeah.
it, right?
Yep.
Um, but in this list, I think you're giving him the orders. I don't know that
Yeah.
there's much, so I'll take that off for now. But you could potentially give him like an emergency transponder to get some more aims. For training, I would consider up close and personal.
I like up close on Din. Again, if you can afford it, it's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's already got tactical one, so you don't really need to put O push. I mean, you could, but you
Sure.
know, uh, I mean, I don't know. You want to keep him alive? You could put a situational awareness on him too.
Yeah.
So you got
It's
up
not bad.
close, you shoot. You shoot, you get your relentless turn, you shoot, you get a dodge, then you can now dodge crits as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
dig
we
it.
still have got 14 points, so you'd start just like
I
loading
I'll
everything.
I almost wonder if this list you don't maybe take a bid.
Yeah, maybe.
14-point bid with 10 axe
Yeah,
and pretty solid axe. I don't know.
yeah.
Hmm. You could also, if you dealer's choice here, but if you wanted to, you could trim a whole bunch of fat and put another act in there somewhere.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
If
I
if you
mean,
still wanted.
so it'd have to be probably, well, no, you're kind of full at all slots. You'd have to put in it'd have to
If
be special forces, right?
or a core. Oh no, that's right. You have to. Sorry,
Yeah,
pikes are
you're
core.
at
Duh,
six
duh, duh.
core. You
Yeah,
max
yeah.
on core.
I forgot the pikes.
I mean, okay, all right. Well, let's cut some of this fat. Let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna get rid of the
Jetpack.
jetpack,
Yeah.
all the stuff on
Mm-hmm.
Din. I'm gonna get rid of the O pushes on the vets and the recon intel. Let's go back down to just what everybody needs, right?
Sure. Are you debatable at C3PO there? But if you have a
Sure,
15
yeah,
point
you could. All right, bounce
deficit,
C3PO.
I'm just saying.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
you
We'll
could
see.
put in an FD.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you need for two?
You
You'd have
can't
to
do
bounce
two.
54 points, yeah.
Yeah, that's you
Let's see,
can't
what
do
else
two.
could you put in? Um, could put some Ewoks in, but you can't get Underworld.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can't
oh no,
fit
you could with
tons.
no, you
Mhm.
can't with him. Hmm. Well,
You might be right there. You might be kind of maxed out on some of your
yeah.
can't fit Mando, can you?
You can naked.
92 yeah. 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 You might be just kind of stuck with what you have.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could do a Mandalorian with a three squad with jetpack rockets and extend your range a little bit more. You could,
I think you're better off with what you had before,
yeah.
honestly. But
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 yeah,
still, that's cool. Yeah.
isn't that? I mean, that's crazy. If they could just, I think the regular troopers and the fleets need to get fixed. But
Yeah.
Rebels have a ton of cool things going for them,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Like I
I
wonder
could dig it.
too, there's also like an interesting thing with maybe Din in the bus.
I would argue then take the ambam off and move it to the spear. I know Immobilize 2 is great. You're absolutely right, but the spear is just so good in
Yeah,
melee.
the land speeder.
Getting
Yeah,
Pierce 2,
yeah,
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 because of Duelist and Lethal. Yeah, it's
yeah.
great.
There's tons of cool options, right? And so I don't know, super interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. So I think Din's got a lot of options. Again, sometimes he's a little bit expensive, but I do think if you run a cheap Din, I think
yeah,
you can get your money's worth for it, your
yeah,
points worth. Yeah,
yeah.
cool, man.
We did it.
Pretty good for a game we hate.
Oh, I hate this game. It's so funny. It's just people are wild. Like I really think people think it's just uh, such a silly thing to say.
We're a silly time sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey,
All
everybody,
right, y'all.
thanks for listening. And
Yeah.
we'll be back next week talking about this lovely game. And who knows? Who
Uh,
knows what next week will bring?
feel free to drop us some mail so we have some
Oh, yeah.
more mail topics to talk about. We love talking about listener viewer mail. It's always
Oh,
a fun
yeah. And
time.
for those of you still listening, don't forget you got 2 weeks for Cherokee Open.
Yep.
So,
Cherokee Open. Also, Gen Con tickets are on sale right now.
yep.
No events or housing, just the main badges. But you can't get into housing lottery without your main badge. So get your
Right.
main badge. Yep.
All right.
Housing lottery's on the 25th, I believe.
Housing.
So there you go. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
That basically single-handedly determines if I'm going to go or not.
Dude, I've never done, so I've been to Gen Con a number of times. I've never done the housing lottery. I've literally just booked it like there's like a Hyatt or a Hilton. I forgot the name. I'd have to go look.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like 2 blocks and I always can get in there. I've never had a
See,
problem getting.
I've tried that before, but they always have the dates like blacked out for me.
I don't know.
Well, how
Are
about
you
that?
a
There you
Hilton
go.
Honors Club member?
I am.
Oh,
Yes,
well,
sir.
I don't know them. I don't know. I've literally never had a problem, so I don't know.
All right. Well, y'all have fun with that.
I'm just special. All right.
Join us at Gen Con.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of the Fifth Trooper podcast.
This has been a Fifth Trooper production.